but I just noticed it.
Ah, no, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I think my mind is elsewhere to some degree this morning.
Yeah. You need a drink of water.
Yeah. Fortunately, we stock quite a bit of backup water.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, are you having well problems? Is that the problem?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys have we've worked through what I refer to as the beginning level phase. Bruce numbers his phases 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually in some practices on out to 8. I've chosen to call the first 4 beginning, intermediate 1 and 2, and advanced. I am not ready to teach beyond that, but believe me, that'll give you more than enough to work with.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you've completed the beginning section, and we're starting into intermediate 1. So I'm going to actually begin by talking a little bit about some of the things that we'll be introducing and working on, and we'll start working on a couple of them. So something that really needs to be understood in what we're doing is the difference between understanding versus embodiment. Also, and I'll come back to that in a little bit. The first movement of Tai Chi is also a little bit like what you're doing in God's Playing in the Clouds in movement 1. But the first movement of God's is not the first movement of Tai Chi. And the first movement of Tai Chi comes from the first movement of God's. But what happens in Tai Chi is a much later development. The next thing is that feeling the body directly. We went through trying to get your mind to go into your body and go through your body. But that's not necessarily this feeling the body directly. That is sending a mental force through your body. So we're going to now begin to look at moving chi between the spine and the fingertips and on through the rest of the body. We're also going to focus on bending and stretching and how to lengthen the body. Fascial movement, yin and yang surfaces and alignments, and outer dissolving. So let's look at what is lengthening. As you know, lengthening is not stretching per se, although it will stretch the body. Lengthening is simply saying that if an arm could only go out so far and all of a sudden it can go a lot further, the body has lengthened, it got longer. You can do stretching simply by putting your body in a position and then putting weight on it and going against it. What that primarily does is rip the fibers of the body so that they can stretch longer. Or, whoops. Physically pull them apart. But very often, you will tear them and then they will grow back into a new tissue, which is longer. But the way in which you lengthen in God's by releasing your nerves, if you release your nerves, all of a sudden your arms can go out further. One thing Bruce mentioned here was that a lot of people who started God's Playing in the Clouds and other forms of Qigong when they were 80 or older and were reasonably clear-minded and focused, actually were able to lengthen out about as much as people in their 20s. They could not do this by just focusing the tissue. A body that old can't take that, but they did learn how to release the nerves that were telling the tissues to stay in a contracted space. So by releasing the nerves, the inner contraction in their body released, and the tissues could slowly start to lengthen. And as they would slowly pull on whatever they were attached to, they gradually got longer. Now in Gods, and in pretty much all the internal work of Taoism, a thing that is very important is working deliberately with the fascia of the body, the connective tissue that keeps everything in its place. And the fascia goes into virtually every part of your body. So if you want to know more about fascia, I suggest going on the internet where you can see and read about it. Fascia is a little bit like saran wrap or cling film and has this ability to stretch out and come back to its original shape. So we'll also be looking at the fascia. And then we'll start looking at an overview of yin and yang meridians. In all Qigong, there are essentially two ways in which meridians are addressed. One is that you trace over specific meridians, crossovers, the collection points, and the release points. Methods that can do that to a very precise degree usually include as many as 100 to 200 movements. And this is something which ordinary people are not going to do. As a matter of fact, you're lucky if 1% of the people who start those practices ever finish learning them. They are far too complicated to fit in with our busy lifestyles of today. But there's another way that does work. First, you need to be clear about where the yin and yang meridians run in your body. And you guys probably are, but the yin ones run where your body is soft, such as if you slap the inside of your arm, it will hurt a little bit. But if you turn and slap the outside, it doesn't hurt at all. So the outside is where the yang meridians flow, there and down your back. And what the Taoists found is that if you work all the meridians at once, you'll get at least 80% of what you would get if you bothered to do it one by one. As a matter of fact, often you'll get a lot more. And that's amazingly more efficient. And it works with the time schedule most people have in this modern age. Now, all these elements are also within the marriage of heaven and earth. Some also have to be put into that practice as well, but they have to be in Gods. So we'll be talking about how they specifically are done in Gods. Some of the extra information about how it's done in Gods will be terribly helpful. Then we will also be working on outer dissolving, taking something that is blocked inside your body and making it go soft. And then you release it to the end of your etheric field. And if that chi that is blocked inside your body releases to the end of your etheric field, it automatically breaks up and then recirculates through your entire etheric field. Then it comes back into the body where it is used for whatever the body needs. So something that I think also is necessary and good for anyone doing Qigong or Tai Chi or Taoist yoga is understanding that because of the digital age, which is so mental, many people have the idea that if they can visualize something, then they can understand what it is and do it. And now to be accurate, you can do that with things that are external to you. You could visualize how to build a better car, a better rocket ship, or a better computer network, but you can't do that to yourself. You're giving yourself very distinct instructions about how this external thing should be made, but it's outside of you, and that's okay. The mind can do that. But what the mind can't do is just by visualizing something inside the body, make that thing automatically happen inside the body. It's been tried. You can hypnotize people. You can put them in all sorts of sleep modes. And you might be able to increase a person's physical performance to a certain degree. But you can't make someone who can jump 2 feet suddenly jump 15 feet up in the air, because something has to happen in the body to allow that. If the only issue is getting rid of bad neurological signals and getting new signals in, then maybe that could be done. But that is not embodying it inside of you. So embodying something means it's in your body. And that's a really important point. The movements of gods are also simply a container for the chi in meditation work inside of it. So bear in mind, however your movements look, that is not what's moving your chi. Those are external movements. In the world of dance, or in a phrase that has been used historically in China, we're talking about dancing skin. When you observe someone dancing, you are seeing their skin move. You might see their muscles moving a bit, tightening and softening, but you can't see what's happening inside of them. And meditation is something that is happening deep inside the mind. So gods is a container for the things that have to happen inside a person in order that they can meditate. It is about how they can create chi flows that are parallel to and work in total cooperation with things you're doing with your mind. Throughout history, we have had scholars who would sit over their desks for many hours a day, and they came up with brilliant things. And there is no two ways about that. Their minds worked very well. But as they started to get older, they began to fall apart because they never did anything with their bodies. So you also have many, many meditators throughout the world who spend a lot of time meditating. But when they started reaching a certain age, their bodies started disintegrating because they never used it in their entire life. When they had used, what they had used was their mind. So to embody something means it is in your physical flesh, and that requires practice. Understanding just requires a good brain. You can understand something, but that doesn't mean you can do it. From the Chinese point of view about Qigong, there are two aspects to this. First is to understanding the procedure so that you can develop it through practice. But the second one, that if it's not inside your body, if you haven't got any qi, how can you say you have been doing Qigong? Since Qigong is about developing qi. It is not about developing mental images. Now, a really good teacher or teaching master does share concepts, but more important is that they teach you how to embody the practice, how you go about it so that you get it, so that it's in your body. So they had to be able to explain it or have some ways of giving you so you get it, either by intellectually describing it or by taking you through certain processes in which the process itself will help you understand it. A true lineage master like Bruce had to be able to transmit energy, which is a foreign concept to most people. But it's like one computer hooked up to another one can download all the information to that computer. And they do this through the nature of the mind. their mind can directly transmit energy. I might, a side note, one workshop that I did with Bruce, a meditation workshop, he did a considerable amount of transmitting, and it was very interesting to experience that. It was very powerful. One of the other things Master Liu, Bruce's teacher, always emphasized is slow and steady wins the race. If you want to embody something, remember that you are organic matter, and organic matter grows gradually. Now, a student is responsible for their own motivation, but we now live in America, in a place where you go to this seminar and you do this thing and that thing, and your teacher is supposed to inspire you. Well, the Taoists would say, no, if a person doesn't care enough about themselves to inspire themselves, no amount of external motivation will do that much for them. The motivation for practice, the motivation to go inside yourself, the motivation to find out what your mind is, the motivation not to be in pain are things you have to have. And truthfully speaking, no one can say anybody should have it. You do or you don't. And that's about what it comes down to. But always consider that every great master or just a good student had to continuously motivate themselves day by day. Yep, having a master standing in front of you is very, very inspiring. But then a week later, that inspiration floats away and it doesn't do anything. Then what good did it do you? And another thing that Master Liu said to Bruce was, I only have one piece of advice so you can progress more rapidly and that is worth anything. And that is practice, practice, practice. So if you practice a lot, you get a lot. You practice a little and you get a little. Now, a funny thing about gods is that when you get to a high level of practice, you actually can do more in 5, 10, or 15 minutes than most people can do in low-level Qigong in 4 or 5 hours. And that's because when all these internal things you're trying to make happen in the beginning really come together, and online through all those hours of practice, you can make them come on instantly, and you can work them that way very, very hard. That's one of the reasons why masters do not have to practice 10 hours a day. They mostly do 2 hours or less. So you have to realize that it is one journey to be able to do something, and it's a different journey once you can do it. That was something else Master Liu said to Bruce. Now, perhaps I'm lazy, but I hope that you're not. I hope all of you are less lazy than me and that you get in there and you practice, practice, practice. So God's Movement 1 and the first movement in Tai Chi are not the same. In Tai Chi, you are primarily working with the energies of Peng, Lu, Ji, and An. In Gods, the first 2 motions, up and extend the fingers, are like Peng and Ji, but then you're gathering in all the energy that's out there and drawing it back into your body, and then the fingers pointing back are going inside and opening up your internal organs. Beyond this, there are no movements that are common between the 2 practices. God's is a Neigong that was intended to create the power used in Tai Chi and to heal illness. The big difference is in the number of movements. Now, the biggest difference, however, is that God's contains the entire Neigong, and God's is a bridge in how the Neigong is used in meditation. Tai Chi does not do that. Tai Chi is intended to make the mind calm and clean so it can effectively open in real time, operate in real time and real world conditions of external pressure. The Taoists say that Tai Chi is about being successful in the world of red dust, and God's is about being more successful in the world of meditation. So there are a few styles of Tai Chi developed within the Taoist tradition that do cross that bridge, but they are very rare. We want to directly feel the body in God's. So we are going to begin by just learning the gross movements of God's without too many of the internal elements. But you need to have a certain number of them, and that's what we've done in the last section. Now, the detail internal work begins by extending the abilities of your mind to travel inside your body. So the first step is this. Can you monitor what is happening along your skin throughout the whole of the outside of your body? That means every patch of skin from the top of your head down through your back, in front and sides of your torso, and your arms and legs. Can you actually be aware when you are moving or doing anything? What is your skin doing? If you can't be aware of what your skin is doing, you will really have a hard time when you go beyond your skin inside your body, recognizing what's happening in every part of the interior of your body. So the first thing you have to do while you do the whole flow of God's is take your mind, relax it, and just let it expand, and somehow you're going to make contact, no matter how little, with what we would call the unconscious mind. It has no data storage problem. It can keep track of as much as you want to keep track of. But can you start doing that form? But can you start doing the form? The first movement, the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and be aware of how is every part of your skin moving at every moment? You're going to have your mind inside your body, and it's going to cause your body to move. But can you just be aware of what your skin is doing? You will need that if you're going to become aware of what everything inside your body is doing. So that's what you would want to start now. So we're going to try that. So I want you to stand up. Just be aware of your body and your structure. Not letting any part collapse, nor be too tense. And breathing as fully as you are able, allowing your breaths to slow and lengthen. And relax your mind. And allow it to sink through your body. Sink your chi through your body. And then extend your mind through your body, which allows you to begin to feel. Begin to focus just on your skin. And I want you to do a full flow of gods. And begin by just focusing on the skin of your arms, because that's the easiest thing to do. Try to be aware of your skin from fingertips back through your wrist to your elbows. And back to your shoulders if you can. Feel the scapula moving and the skin along the outside of the scapula. Feeling all the way back from fingertips to the spine and from the spine to the fingertips. Just feeling what's happening with your skin. Feel the skin of your chest moving with the skin of your arms. Feel the skin on your sides moving. Just the skin at the moment. You don't have to go any deeper. But also feel the skin at the back moving. And the skin of your abdominal area. Now feel the skin of your pelvic area, front and back, moving with the rest of the body. And feel the skin of your thighs moving. Feel your knees. Feel your calves, the skin of your calves moving. And even feel the skin of your feet moving. The skin of the whole body is alive and moving. In China, this is called being aware of your bag of skin. So what did you feel?
I'd say that in my forearms was the best feeling of skin,
Mhm.
especially the yang side.
Uh-huh.
And I think also in my upper back,
Good.
harder in the legs for some reason, for skin feeling. I was feeling a lot of, for me, in my legs and lower body, it's continual need to do extra relaxing and
Mhm.
but I wasn't getting the skin so much in my legs.
Yeah, it's the legs in almost every phase of what we do are more difficult. Certainly, and so the sequence that I was talking you through here probably is a good way to focus on it in your practice too. And not necessarily trying to do as a matter of fact, not trying to do the whole body, but perhaps being aware of how much you could feel with relative ease is your starting level.
Hmm.
And then gradually progress to adding more and more.
Yeah. I don't know if it was skin but as we get going, I often feel more in my face and lips energy
Mhm.
there. So,
Good. Adam?
Yeah, I feel I think I feel the same. I started getting more feedback from my face as we went along. I found it easier to feel the skin on areas that really the skin almost feels like it's stretching over
Mhm.
the
Mm.
musculature, so kind of the scapula and the shoulders and then down in the hips. Found the abdomen a little difficult to connect with because it almost feels like the skin there really isn't moving as much as like in the arms and the shoulders and the hips.
Yep.
Although I found strangely the legs and feet kind of easy. I found the feet maybe easy because I'm standing on carpet. So there's sort of, a lot of like fabric feedback to feel the bottoms of the feet. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I found, not that I could feel all of it, but most of it. It was interesting when you said feel your calves. I had just felt them. Kind of like, I think part of that's also what position our body is in at that moment, right? So clearly, when we're bending, we can feel different things.
Yep.
And so I think that yeah, I'd also just taken a shower, so my skin is kind of alive in that way.
That's good.
Showers, and so that makes you even more aware of it. But it was interesting how you could, the feelings were different in the different postures. Except for, except for the arms, but then I could really feel that more the twisting in the arms. I think that I was more aware of from the skin point of
Yeah. So this is a really good practice, and another way to approach this in a way is to do your flow focusing on the etheric body and being aware of the extent of it and where your arms are in relation to the etheric body, where you're moving, where are you moving the energy? Because the boundary of the etheric body is actually the boundary of the skin of the entirety of the body. There's a thought. As you're moving within the etheric body, you are also moving within the physical body. So at the skin level and also more deeply, but you can begin to feel it at the skin level. So that's another way you could approach this, is focusing on it focusing on the etheric body and your movement within that and how that's moving your skin. So you can play with that one too. So, any other thoughts at the moment? Okay, well, I will leave you with that for God's.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Good. Thank you, David.
thank you. We hope your water will be flowing soon, David.
Oh, thanks. I think I may hear our plumber coming.
Oh,
So,
good, good.
he said he was going to come about now, so
Okay.
thank you. I hope so too.
You're on mute, Joanne.
Oh,
Said, I'm not assuming you've run out of water. You're pretty deep well over there.
yeah, 340 feet. So
Yeah, I remember when you put it in.
um,
That's deep.
we could, I suppose we could run out of water. The last time we had a drought here, last year, we had sometimes when it came and went very quickly, but it was clearly depleted. This was very sudden. I kind of have a feeling that it may be something else.
No,
The pump or something, yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
So,
it's a different power interruption than the pump, but
yeah, we'll see.
You'll say, you got it sorted out. Right.
if they pull the pump up, take pictures when they have that 340 feet of hose wrapped all around your yard.
I've seen that more than once, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a lot of hoses.
That's really heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
All right.
So actually, I'm gonna cut short today, guys, because I've got to go.
Yeah.
Good.
Bye, Bill.
Take
So-
care. See you, Joanne.
Bye.
Adam. David.
Do you have, either of you have any urgent questions about the Woo style?
Just with what we just did, is that something to carry over into the form?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
okay?
I mean, it's kind of interesting, as I was talking today, that these two practices are not the same. Their intentions are not the same. But
Right.
a lot of the individual elements that we work on in Gods are present in Tai Chi. Feeling that movement of the energy on the skin, or deeper, and actually the two of you may certainly at this point be feeling that movement below the skin. But that's part of developing your awareness in Tai Chi of well, the first four energies are the most important, and the second four really are principally combinations of the first four. But feeling those individual energies is certainly comes from developing this kind of awareness. In other words, being able to feel how Peng energy is different from Ji, both of which are outward forms of energy and the more yang ones, and therefore tend to be similar, and yet they're quite different. So yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All that to say yes. Helpful, though. All that is helpful.
Good.
More to play with.
More
yeah.
to play with, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I don't want you to get bored.
Oh, yeah, right.
What did
Yeah,
Dare?
that's a big problem with this class, David.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad to hear it's not.
It's all just too easy, David.
Is that it? Oh,
Well, good luck with the water and the plumbing.
thank you. Thank you. Have a good week.
You too,
Yes,
guys.
see you
Take
Good
next
luck
week.
good luck with your memorial.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is for my friend who died a
Yeah.
year ago, last May. We're doing a celebration of life, but now, you know, with COVID protocols and all sorts of other issues, like, it's in New York City. So, yeah, we're kind of steep in the last minute, but then having to figure out what we need to change, so.
Yeah,
Hmm.
well, good luck.
Thank you. All right, see you next
All right.
week.
Bye, guys. Thank you, David.